So, Hamster and Gretel's completed its first run of 10 episodes, and I've gotta say, I think it's finding its groove quite nicely. The brother-sister dynamic of Kevin and Gretel makes for plenty of fun adventures, and the extended cast as a whole is very charming. The highlight so far is most definitely the villains, with a wide range of hilarious backstories and charming personalities. The sheer variety is impressive, with an even mix of successes and failures in my eyes. The same can be said for the songs, as plenty take big swings and succeed, and some just feel like background noise. The show's still working to find its identity, but like I mentioned, the relationship between Kevin and Gretel is what grounds this show, and the writers run with that, mining the emotional gold found there. Hamster also works much better than I initially anticipated as a character, and isn't just a retread of Ferb's one-line per episode shtick. He has his own depth and stands out as a fun character in his own right, with unique desires, quirks, and internal struggles. But, as anyone who has followed my channel for a while knows, what I really love discussing is that sweet, sweet overarching story. And, much like the past two projects in this universe, the topic of conversation is aliens. What fascinates me most about this alien storyline is that, in trying to decipher what's actually going on, I have to take into consideration that A, this is only the first 10 episodes of a 30-episode first season, B, we've seen so many different aliens in this universe prior, and C, we've yet to even find out what these aliens look like. Much like in Milo Murphy's Law, they're keeping the aliens' motivation close to the vest early on. So, let's take a deep dive into all the clues we've been given about the aliens so far to figure it out. Though, I think I can safely say it's not because the aliens want to eat anyone.
You are delicious. Appetizing. Scrumptious.
But if you are feeling a bit hungry, you should check out today's sponsor, HelloFresh. I'm gonna be honest to mention, Hoppers, I struggle with eating out quite a bit. But one thing that really helps me is being able to cook at home, and nobody makes that easier than HelloFresh. HelloFresh is a meal kit subscription service that brings delicious ingredients and ready-to-make recipes right to your doorstep. You pick out your meal choices each week through their website, and they have options for all kinds of diets, including veggie, pescatarian, kid-friendly, and more. My wife Brooke and I recently chose this awesome garlic herb tortelloni dish, and it was absolutely fantastic. The instructions were easy to follow, and I appreciate the different steps, which allows us to work on different parts of the recipe simultaneously. Plus, if there's ever a week we don't need meals, we can just skip it, no questions asked. Between a full-time job and YouTube, I don't have much time to think about grocery shopping and planning meals, so HelloFresh is the perfect solution to help me stay healthy and keep my cooking skills sharp. Use my link or go to HelloFresh.com and use code POGHF6484 for 65% off plus free shipping on your first box. Once you click, my description will live update to count up the purchases. Thank you so much to HelloFresh for sponsoring today's trip to the second dimension. Alright, so far we know there are two aliens present in the show. One is voiced by series creator Dan Povenmire, and the other is voiced by head writer Joanna Hausman. Notably, both have previously voiced aliens in Milo Murphy's Law Season 2. Dan Povenmire was this random alien from the beginning of the season, and Joanna Hausman was Alien Commander, the primary alien followed throughout Milo Season 2, and also the big bad, if you can even call her that.
Milo, I don't have any words, except you look delicious.
Which makes it all the weirder they never gave her a name in the entire season. Her daughter gets a name, these guys get names, why did she not get a name? But I digress. The point is, they've been aliens before, and as of the mid-season finale, they've appeared in 6 episode segments of Hamster and Gretel. The aliens appear to have a working relationship dynamic, with many of their comments to each other sounding sarcastic or snarky. It very much resembles the relationship between Brick and Savannah in Milo Murphy's Law, who are also forced to work together by a larger corporation, in that case the higher-ups being the Bureau of Time Travel.
You know, flashing those lights is using up a lot of power.
You know, flashing those lights is using a lot. That's what you sound like right now.
Ah, nuts.
Ah, nuts. That's what you sound like.
The point is, these two aliens wouldn't be giving people powers if someone above them wasn't mandating it, as they give off the vibe of lackeys rather than as the brains of the operation. After all, the alien played by Dan is clearly sloppy. Instead of fixing his mistakes of giving inanimate objects powers, he retreats and says, oops.
We will now bestow upon you powers unimaginable. Oops, spilled my orange juice.
If this was something he legitimately cared about, he could have taken away their powers as the aliens show they're capable of in UFO, but he'd rather just ignore it. If the writers really want to tie it all into the show's theme, I could see these aliens being a brother-sister duo, much like Kevin and Gretel and Lyle and Lauren. It would create fun parallels all around, and their co-worker frustration with each other could just as easily be sibling bickering. These aliens call humans Earth creatures, implying a lack of familiarity with Earth culture, unlike the aliens from Milo Murphy's Law.
Follow know that human!
However, they do have some Earth knowledge, as the Dan alien has orange juice.
Oops, spilled my orange juice.
Though the Milo Murphy's Law aliens talked about planning the yearly Christmas party, so that's one of those grain of salt details. Wacko Wally knows of the aliens' existence. Their activities are also very patterned, with similar speeches given each time powers are bestowed.
Greetings, Earth creatures. We will now bestow upon you powers unimaginable! Powers unimaginable! Powers unimaginable!
The idea of superpowers and identities is clearly a part of their goal, as no hero or villain granted powers by the aliens is without a costume, an important detail I've seen many people overlook. There's no costume designer here except the aliens. The powers the aliens grant can be very specific or very general, but there isn't a clear attempt to make an army of differing sides. They understand that some of the powers they bestow are stupid ideas, which tells us that each power set is something determined by the aliens. Additionally, if the powers aren't specified with a usage request, the receiver uses the powers however they decide. They do seem to be given out willy-nilly, despite the Dan aliens protesting Kevin's theme song takeover.
Yeah, sorry, we don't give out powers just willy-nilly.
What?
Oops, spilled my orange juice.
The powers can either bring unconscious objects to life, or cause unconscious objects to respond, which is consistent with the overall logic of the universe.
I could have sworn I hit more threatening stuff than this.
Yet another clue, here's one of the most interesting lines in the series.
Experiment 622H-108 complete. Result, failure.
I'll say. So who came up with the idea of talking to onions as a superpower?
They can't all be winners.
Now, was La Cebolla herself considered an experiment, or was it just this situation? I think context points to the experiment being Cebolla herself, because if her going to prison was the failure, then Lyle and Lauren would have been considered failures ages ago. But the aliens haven't declared them failures. Interestingly, the experiment number given, 622H-108, is the TV production code for the episode, as we can tell looking at the other production stills that this is the code format, and it's Season 1, Episode 8. But that still leaves the question of what classifies each experiment as a success or a failure. In Saturday Homecoming Fever, the aliens are present, flashing lights on the party at the end. This is notable because it's one of the primary confrontations between Fist Puncher and the Destructress and Hamster and Gretel in the series. In fact, the aliens are only absent from the first meeting of the two, with their subsequent two fights both monitored by the aliens. Finally, the most interesting aspect of the aliens' activities is that the entirety of UFO's confrontations seems to have been scripted. For one, the alien ship used by the sibling duos throughout the episode has been modified significantly. The weird rock was placed there on purpose. In fact, it was ordered from a catalog. But most notably, when Kevin goes to take over the controls, they're suspiciously understandable, looking much like that of an average human car. It's used as a fun payoff in the episode to Kevin being Minivan Kid, but when we catch a short glimpse into the aliens' real UFO at the end of the episode, we see controls that are very different, looking nothing like those in the UFO commandeered by Kevin. They look very similar to the controls of the Octalians' ships in Milo Murphy's Law, with joysticks and buttons galore. The point is, this whole thing was staged, and the scenario played out exactly how the aliens wanted it to. So, where does all of this lead us?
So if the aliens gave Fist Puncher and the Destructress their powers and told them to be evil...
Are the aliens evil, or are they just messing with us? Are we caught up in some kind of nefarious intergalactic alien game? What in the world is happening?
Kevin, I think you're close, but not quite there. Briefly, let's go through the motives of past aliens in this universe to rule out redundancy. They aren't poachers. They don't want to be invisible or have a new leader. They don't want to escape prison. They don't want to feel important, conquer a planet, and start a dictatorship. And they don't need humans to help with some conflict on their home planet. I think all the clues point to one thing. The aliens are filming some sort of reality TV show. Think about it. Repetitive quotes and formulas are an essential part of a TV show. Hotel Hell wouldn't be the same if Gordon Ramsay didn't say he felt bad for the guests in every single episode.
I feel sorry for all of them.
Some episodes are better than others, and different episodes could be considered experiments. The experiment number for La Cebolla was even an actual TV production code Easter egg for the show. When something isn't working in a TV show, it's common to cut it out or ignore it without giving it a second thought. Just like the Dan alien when he makes mistakes.
Oops!
Why would the aliens bother shining lights on the homecoming after party if not to add visual flair to the episode? Why bother with decorations and new controls for the alien ship if not to make a more interesting episode? Why bother with unique and visually interesting costumes? Why give instructions on evil and good if not to create conflict, an essential part of nearly every TV episode ever made? The aliens laughing at their plan at the end of UFO is played off as something that doesn't even make sense to them, so I'm pretty certain they're not truly evil. I think they've been hired to shoot a reality TV series for the aliens back on their planet, and this is how they're doing it. They just likely don't care that much because they're underpaid and frustrated with the job they have to do. But let me know what your theory is in the comments below. Are they running a TV show, or is there something more sinister going on? And if you liked this video, be sure to check out my review of the first 2 episodes of Hamster and Gretel. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you back in Dimension 1.